It's one of those annoying lanes that you do just solely focus on denies, and then Kits unfortunately can't really do much when the avalanche comes through. You just have to sit there and hope that it doesn't happen to you, but no, KXY is doing a much better job in this lane than he did. Wasn't able to get that shutout that we were really expecting, but we'll see, because of course, everything is just about the Blink Dagger and then getting those power runes.
Well, just farming at the moment. Meanwhile, we'll swing things up top, see how that final lane's working out. LTH, well, he's been trying, right? Being as annoying as possible, and it is a hoodwink, so he is annoying, but he steps out of lane for a little bit. Oscar is actually getting hit up on the other side of the map, though. Prada does go down first. And Yuma's going to be able to make the trade-off, and that is core for support, as Speed is the one to die. I don't think Yuma can go any further. Yeah, still only level 2 Shikuchi, so the cooldown's still a little hefty, but... Okay. You give up first blood, but your Weaver's able to find a kill onto the opposing offlaner. Yeah, he's got the Falcon Blade finished off now, ET, so... Lane is looking pretty solid here.
No, it definitely is, and then everybody just TPs back. Thought for a second for the bottle refill, but no, we're just back to the lane. Unfortunately for Speed, though, this is, one of those heroes where, hey, I'm back. I'm to cast more mana on you. As, yeah, both Merlin and Speed feeling the hurt of the Skywrath.
Well, Merlin... yeah, there we go. He has the raindrop. Speed does not, though, so he is getting a little bit bullied, as you said. Don't know if they're going to be able to catch him again, though, because it feels like Speed... That time got caught a little bit too far forward, right? As he's getting hit, forced to leap back, but... I don't know. Even if they don't kill off Speed a second time, or even Merlin at all, Yuma's getting so much out of this lane, I truly don't think that they care.
No, he's doing a great job. Speed, as well, is going for the armlet build on Marcy, which we have not seen any offlane Marcys do. It's just simply been phase into BKB for pretty much everyone else, but going for, I think, a slightly greedier option, as well as perhaps wanting the armor in lane versus the Weaver, because, of course, Human does the majority of his damage through right clicks, but I have to see if it ends up paying out. But Speed is always very aware of item builds and item choices in his game, so you can respect it.
Meanwhile, LTH TP'd in for a bottle refill, but hanging around, looking to see if maybe they can get a toss back. Not really going to go their way. LTH is still here for a little bit of extra damage, but by that point, it's a little too late.
Yeah, nice cut of the tree as well, but here are the runes, and here are all the supports, and Kits is still not level 6, but we'll have to see. No rune spawns here, and now, oh, well, your Ember Spirit is super dead.
Okay. And since no one on the 5-rat side went to check top, they're going to be able to get that Invis rune too, which means this Tiny... Actually, if he wanted the mana, he'd have to use the Invis, but he's going to make his way top right now. He could still just get away with this. Could take a mango from his teammate too, if LTH is feeling generous. Not going to be the case, but...
He's going to have to bottle after he goes for the Ava, and you also need to cut in a little bit closer, because Sentry here... Okay, they're going to settle for the Jakiro.
Alright.
Yeah.
It's free. It's easy. Why not? Oh, okay, maybe not 100% free. LTH is going to cop a little damage there, but doesn't matter. They still find the pick. Solid maneuver at that point, and the Morphling was going to be pretty damn hard to go after, even in the most ideal circumstances.
Yeah, and then with this rotation as well, the Tiny gets to pick up the Bounty Rune on his rotation back towards mid, but just TPs, Gets doing what he can, trying to get some damage onto that mid tower while he can afford to, but getting ever so closer to that Blink Dagger. Only about 500 gold away, and then your Tiny is going to start showing up in these side lanes even more regularly.
Press is looking pretty good. Meanwhile, Yuma still just enjoying his life in this lane. Replay's pushed up maybe a little bit further than he would like, but can't all be perfect, right? There's got to be some sort of resistance at some point, but realistically speaking, all of the lanes have gone very well. You even take a look at Oscar on the Beastmaster, right? His Dom Helm is just about done, and really, other than the Morphling, these lanes for the other 5-rat cores have been a little slow.
No, yeah, definitely just kind of taking their time here, and in doing so, their heroes just feeling a little bit weaker, and let's see. Okay, get lucky on the rune. Regen rune for Ember Spirit, you know, a little bit redundant, but is just going to make his life maybe slightly easier. Can actually use his remnants aggressively as opposed to those resets, but still making good trades happen across the map. Oscar, I think, closing in on his Helm of the Dominator. Might even have it coming out in just 1 or 2 creeps. About to have it. And then we'll have to see where DNM ends up going, because 5-Rat, they like to stick this Morphling in his lane as long as possible. With the Ring of Health build as well, he certainly has a little bit more HP to play around with, but we'll have to see, because we are just getting dangerously close to the timing where KXY will just look for that kill, look for the play, and then you could just get punished super easily.
Even trying to push up onto Kits a little bit there. Let's get the Ember Spirit in a defensive position, so maybe KXY could just go take a side camp, which it looks like that's exactly what he's doing here. Gonna try and stack it first? Yes, he is. Okay. Efficiency gaming out from the Tiny. He gets himself a bounty rune as well, and this is absolutely going to get him his blink.
Yeah, and
Well, if he takes it, which he doesn't.
LPH, at least Scouter not going for the bounty rune here, and the Ember Spirit's trying to connect, and I feel like this is just too much damage for the rat. There you go. Goodbye, Hoodwink. Have a nice time.
Got the bounty, though. Did a little scouting. KXY able to finish the blink dagger, so that's now on its way out to him. And on the other side, the armlet's done for speed, so we'll see exactly what this looks like, ET, because you mentioned earlier on, it's not exactly a standard build even for core Marcy. They're going to try and make a play. They're in onto Prada. Rebound, dispose, damage. Didn't even really need the armlet for that, but they're able to find it. There's a TP coming in from the Tiny, though. KXY wants to fight. They are going to be able to get directly onto speed. That is...
Toggles.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, he's still toggling. Not dead yet. He actually forces the time-lapse out, and... well... that's what it looks like, ET. It looks pretty impressive, and now here comes Kits. Able to get the root down onto KXY. Rebound connects onto Yuma as well. He had already used the time-lapse earlier in the fight, so he does die. KXY is now fighting for his life. Can he survive? Right-clicks are coming in. Fairy Fire out there as well. That's going to allow him to dodge out that last bit of Sleight of Fist damage, but Kits jumps to the Remnant, and that damage is enough. They get the kill. Merlin. Okay. Almost dies of the creeps, but he completes the TP, and that's 3 kills with no casualties.
Yeah, it's a 3-for-0. Really doing a good job of abusing the level 6 timing, but yeah, that's your Avatos to start the game off and gets toggled through it. It's really sad, but very well executed by Speed. Without that little play from him, then really none of those kills actually end up falling into their laps, but we'll have to see now what he decides to do going forward here. I also am kind of wondering for SG, who actually ends up farming these incredible stacks that LPH was actually able to manage. I feel like a part of me says it's got to be Beastmaster Oscar. It's got to be the guy with the axes, but just a little bit odd to see so much prioritization for him. But we'll have to see, because I feel like it's going to take quite a bit, but will inevitably be worth it. Just might be a long time the Beastmaster's out of the lane.
Yeah, could be for him. KXY could get through it slowly but surely as well if maybe some of these ganks don't work out, because they are looking to put together a play onto DNM here. This is not going to be easy. They get the pushwhack, though. The avalanche comes through, but he's already shifting, and the sharpshooter really isn't going to be all that useful, but here comes the counterplay. Kits and both of the supports are going to make their way over, and SG... now, okay, they're only going to run the Hoodwink into it. LTH gets taken down, all is well, but it's just a weird play to try and make there onto the Morphling at this point in the game, as Prada is going to get in trouble as well. There's the root. Does throw down a Mystic Flare, but Merlin's able to sidestep most of the damage.
Yeah, and then getting river control, 12-minute rune spawns, arcane rune for your Ember Spirit. You're feeling pretty happy right now. You're not too upset with the way that this early game is going, and even Yuma, who's kind of tempting fate here versus Speed, every single time the rebound's up, he just goes onto Yuma, punches him once or twice, and then walks away. You don't want to necessarily waste the Unleash here. 100 seconds is a pretty rough cooldown, but if you can get a kill, well, let's see. Just barely out of the sentry range, but okay, new sentry gets placed, and now Yuma's going to need other support here, but instead says, nah, I just want to go top. I want to try and kill this tower. This Morphling cannot just sit here and then stall us out.
I think that TP was spotted, though, by the ward in the lane itself, so DNM's going to kind of play back a little bit. AB1, though, might be a little bit more vulnerable. Yuma's going to hit him up. Rada's coming in to help. AB1 dropping. This is a very deep dive, though, from Yuma. He does get the kill, but he has to time-lapse immediately. So now he's in a sort of awkward spot here on the back line, but both Kits and AB1 get taken down. LTH just snipes that with the sharpshooter, so they're not feeling too bad, and they're actually going to look to turn this fight on the 5-rat side. The roar comes through, though. Oscar is walking away. DNM trying to push in. He morphed himself into, I believe, the Weaver so he could get the Shikuchi, but he's not able to catch up to that Beastmaster, and the fight will reset.
And now look at the Tiny, who he's able to connect on. Daytime just needs to see the supports for a second, but
Ooh. It's not enough damage. Merlin still had a range drop or two, so he is going to live, and KXY is the one who's in trouble. They get the rebound, they get the dispose. He's going to try to pop wand charges, looking for someone to help him out here as the centaur does come in. They get the stomp, but that's not enough. KXY, he got the blink dagger at a fast time, ET, but ever since he picked it up, he just hasn't been able to actually make any plays. Kits, meanwhile, well, he respawns, he goes mid, he takes down Prada, and then he jumps away.
man, really, again, the tips are coming through for Prada, but gets to stay in the mid lane, gets the river control, and yeah, just not clean enough with the Tiny. Unfortunately for SG, starting to fall behind now, and that's the tower that the Beastmaster wanted to take 5 minutes ago. He is really struggling to find his way to open up this map, and then just means you retroactively get slightly more farm than your opponents. I feel like, of course, KXY still needs to go for these types of plays, just needs to maybe be smoked at this point, because I feel like too many times his rotations are getting scouted out, they bring the numbers, they bring the bodies, and then your play kind of ends up dying. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to smoke up, especially with the Scarith Mage. A little bit more damage for them to play around with, but where do they decide to connect to? They want to find someone going for this mid wave, but they can't really go on Kits because he's got an illusion rune bottled. He really wouldn't mind it, and it's actually 5-rat that are also getting on the aggressive.
Yeah, these competing smokes are, as of right now, going to largely ignore each other, but Oscar is trying to take that stack just as the trio are making their way over. Oh, he should see AB1 pop here. He's going to try and get away. Tumbler's Toy gets him just out of the range of the ice path, but he is going to have to sacrifice the rest of the stack. His teammates, though, they made the move. They caught out speed. They find the kill. And it's not a bad kill, and maybe they can get some more pressure onto this tier 1 tower. They have a siege creep here, so they are going to hit it up. Yuma... Actually, Yuma just has the damage. They're going to take this tower.
Yeah, they're going to make the trades, but you did just lose your mid, and, you know, any tier 1 from mid is not too happy of a situation, but there's simply too many bodies in the mid lane for you to actually deal with, and instead of all TPing, they decide to walk, which is smart. You don't want to get jerked around the map too much here, but let's see where they decide to move next. Speed back onto Yuma pretty much immediately, but they are fighting around this high ground ward here. Rest of the lineup in. Oh, Kits, does he get ward? He does, but
Sharpshooter's in. They've got the silence on him. They need a little bit more, though, and Kits is able to get away, and now it's going to turn. DNM morphed into the Tiny, threw an avalanche of his own, and oh, Yuma's going to try to get in here, looking for some sort of return kill. Maybe he gets Kits. Yes, he does. But now he has to get away from DNM, and that's going to be complicated, because Speed respawn... Oh, my God. Speed respawns as well. Everybody dusts Yuma. And he does have time lapse, but he's getting stun locked and he's not going to make it out. And ET, SG, you can't make these plays. If you're going to get the Ember, it's got to be in and out. Instead, they're just stuck there for what feels like half an hour, and that's more than enough time for DNM to punish them.
yeah, and it's a fantastic choice from DNM to become the Tiny, of course, then gets the Ava toss off, then the kill takes so long to actually get through from the Ember Spirit. And the 4 heroes that initiate on him aren't even the ones to kill him. It has to be the Weaver that shows up to clean up at the end of the fight. They're still struggling to find clean initiations. It just feels like now they're starting to play more and more with that deficit, so these jumps are getting more and more difficult for them to actually execute. And then, of course, because he has to kill himself to kill the Ember Spirit, you do lose Yuma at the end of the day. It's funny, though, because really not too much actually happens map-wise after the fact. It's not like 5-rat can immediately turn it into a building, because the only objective left for them to take is probably towards that bottom area where Yuma's still playing, but still very nice. Not the top net worth. That's still going to belong to your Weaver, but DNM is in a very good spot on this Morphling.
He's feeling confident. He knows his teammates are there to back him up, and Yuma... Well, who knows? Gleipnir's queued up now. That could be a rather sizable shift in terms of his actual threat in these engagements when he has real lockdown to work with. But he is still a little ways away from it, and there are some heroes coming towards him. Well, he sees it now. He's going to get rooted, though. Time lapses. Can he get away from any sort of arrow play? Well, no, because he just gets hit by the ice path, and I'm not entirely sure what his plan was there, ET.
Yeah, no, just kind of caught in between two hard places. And then when you time lapse, you're still in the ice path. It just doesn't dissipate and just ends up being pretty ugly. And now mid, whole product, they want to do chain setup. And then there's the arrow. And then Merlin can finish it off. Kids can finish it off. They're just going to do it the slow way. But KXY, he loves some revenge, but he is playing absolutely in the dark here. LTH is even trying to bait right now. And seeing them go forward, a little bit scary here. But LTH, now he gets scouted out. And it's time to run.
Ice path
Oh,
clips
what a
him,
nice
though,
path.
into arrow. Bit of a free kill there as Merlin picks it up, and SG, man, they are just not really able to avoid these plays at this point, and well, this is kind of what 5rat wanted in the first place. Make space for the Morphling, pick up a 4-man unit that can just brawl and fight over and over again, and it's starting to work. We see that net worth lead building up a little bit. The Morphling has overtaken the top net worth spot, and Yuma's still farming and still a threat, but the 4v4s have been decidedly in 5rat's favor so far.
No, it just feels like they're very successfully able to make these moves, and now that we're getting into that next stage of the game, of course, BKB up on your Ember Spirit, Speed's looking at a BKB of his own, only about 200 or 300 gold away. 5rat are going to be so ready for this next big team fight. DNM, though, does get smoked on. Avatost killed in the night. Daytime vision at the last second there to give them the knowledge that they can make that jump. So there's your punish.
Okay. And now they're going to try to make their way top. Problem is, this ward still standing, scouting out all of this movement, so this duo is not very sneaky, and 5rat decide, we don't want to be here anymore. They will pull themselves away. The question is, ET, well, where do they really go? Because if they want to force a fight, there's some options for them, although at this point they could also just sit back and farm, right? BKB now finished off on speed. They could just kind of wait for the Morphling to respawn and then try and do something after.
Yeah, definitely feel like 5rat are going to be the ones to try and get more active. Do have to be a little bit scared of SG just turning things around in a team fight and then finding a pick towards that top area of the map and then turning it into Roche, because as much as 5rat are going to be able to kill you here, it's where they're looking for those same opportunities. And some more lag come through, the pause happens, yada yada yada.
There
And
we go.
LTH is gone.
See, try and get back in quickly. Hopefully that clears up his lag. And, well, when we get back into it, we've got a group up here that, there we go, does have a smoke. LTH is holding on to it, so they could look to make a move. And now that the Gleipnir is done, they're going to have a lot more lockdown to work with. And, well, DNM, you know, you just got kind of caught out a few moments ago in a similar area of the map, so guess we'll find out if he learned his lesson. The Lincolns could protect him for a little while, but still going to be rough, especially if KXY gets that same combo down.
Yeah, and it's where you can only suspect here from SG that LTH is going to smoke them all in a second. It just feels like it's the only thing they can do. But that's also where you realize that at least one hero just walked underneath this observer ward. Probably was just the hoodwink, but I feel like that's where DNM might show for a second here and then immediately start getting out. But we'll have to see if he makes the appropriate guess. And then the GWR is in the chat, and then time to actually get ourselves going here. But have to watch him, and yeah, DNM immediately turns around. Yep.
Okay. Hold on a second. Still moving forward. He did shift a little bit towards strength, though, so he's not on max agi, but okay.
Huh.
That was kind of strange.
They weren't smoked at all, and now Oscar is dying to 5rat smoke, and they're gonna kill him and then immediately walk away. Yeah, I don't know. That was so greedy to not use it, okay? Yum with the Gleipnir, getting aggressive, and Okay, he's just gonna time lapse.
Arrow is coming through. Not going to hit on anything while Merlin goes down, but LTH, yeah, he is going to get punished. So they will lose another hero. They're going to lose a third as well as Prada does get taken down. And Yuma, you got to be careful. No time lapse to bail you out if you do get into trouble. He's going to try and drop the Gleipnir. He's actually fighting it now. KXY comes in as well. Avatos connecting onto speed. Kits was able to jump away though, but Kits, you don't win this fight. All of his mana is gone. He's just going to get taken out. KXY snipes it with the tree toss. Boy, ET, for a moment there, I thought it was SG who were getting in over their heads, but Yuma had the utmost confidence that that Tiny was going to finish the fight.
Yeah, and that's where Yuma, of course, on the Weaver, just a little bit tankier than some of these other carries that Yuma likes to play. And after BKB, well, you run out of control. And that's where losing Merlin so early in the fight does make that situation just too difficult to actually win. And all of that also comes when they know that the Morphling TP to that bot tier 2. So even though that play ends up dying, they know that that's a fight that the Morphling can't actually show up to. So a good chunk of gold now goes the way of SG.
Just a bit under 2k into their pockets for that one. And LTH trying to push out here, maybe get a little bit of vision down. Because SG, I mean, at this point, ET, right, they would love to start operating on their opponent's side of the map a hell of a lot more, but well, it hasn't quite been able to happen for them just yet, but they're working their way towards it. KXY, meanwhile, what's he building here? Not looking for a BKB at this point. He's going to try and go for a little bit more in the way of aggressive potential, which... not 100% sure, because he missed a lot of his early opportunities. So now it feels like he's trying to just kind of catch up a little bit there, but I guess it's never too late. As long as the blink plays are still working, it doesn't matter if it was now or 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, and we'll have to see, because 5rat decide that they've had enough. This is completely scouted out, though. There are Hawks just pestering near you. And yeah, Merlin's going to get one of them, but yeah, there's the sentry. They know what's going on here, but...
Oh! Avatos, they take speed down right away. And KXY, again, doesn't have a BKB, so he's got to just kind of walk his way out of there, but he is able to do so. And now, without speed, the teamfight anchor is a little non-existent. If DNM goes too far, then everyone just turns onto him. They don't have that wall in front of them. They are looking for Yuma, though. They get him with the Ice Path into the arrow, but this is still a massive commitment for a kill that you're kind of iffy on, so they don't push in. Try to glyph to save their tower. It should still go down here, but they bought him a little bit of time. Arrow, not going to hit. DNM morphs into Tiny for the Avalanche, just trying to clear out the creeps, but Roche is still sort of hanging in the balance here at about half HP.
Yeah, and they know that DNM doesn't have morph for another 60 seconds if they really want to press the issue, but I also feel like SG don't want to be the ones to instigate it. They could be finishing up their BKB onto Yuma, exactly what they're looking for. But this is also where, if 5rat are able to find a pick, this is where buyback status actually matters this early into a game. You can find a core. Of course, none of them are saving up for buyback, but you find a support, that could be just as impactful here. That's where LTH, he would be the perfect one to die. And he will be the perfect one to die, because you need to. You can buy back on that Hoodwink.
A very well-timed and well-placed death from LTH as 5rat. Well, they are going to push into the pit, but there's that buyback. They're going to start coming back together, and I'm not sure if they're aware of the Tiny's location. Maybe this ward scouted him out. Well, now they know, because he just took on a creep wave, but they push forward instead of sticking around in the pit. Probably a good idea for them, but at the same time, yeah, mid's getting pushed. They're losing that vision on the high ground. They are going to get Prada here, but Yuma, he was able to get down a root onto a couple, but he doesn't have the damage to really kill all of them off by himself, so the fight will reset. Prada's going to pop his buyback. Meanwhile, KXY, he is not aware he's standing under a sentry ward, and he's going to find out now. But he's able to get away in time. No, he's not. He still gets hit up by the dust. Tries to pop the defensive avalanche, but he is completely alone against 5. That's just trying to do a little bit too much there.
Yeah, and that is the one hero that doesn't have buyback. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit more difficult now. Not to mention, they are still just standing underneath this 5-rat ward. The supports were not able to get back here. And now, okay, got to be careful. In the night, they do decide to push in front, play on their own vision a little bit more. And Merlin, well, might just lose the Mirana here, but the rest of the lineup, oh boy.
Oh, Bushwhack did come out here from LTH, so DNM gets locked down momentarily. But Speed's pushing forward. BKB active. Gets the Dispos onto the Beastmaster. Roar already used, so he is going to go down. And well, SG, what do they want to do here? They get a Bushwhack in. Yuma's going to get the Gleipnir. They're looking for the quick kill onto Kits. BKB forced out from the Weaver. And he did take Kits down, but it did cost him a couple of teammates. He's still kind of pushing, though, but the BKB is going to wear off. And he time-lapsed back into Ice Path. Now he's going to get hit by the rebound. He's stuck in the Macro Pyre. And ET, this is the second or third time now where you just kind of wonder what the thought process is. As KXY, you can't really do this either. Now he's going to get punished, and I don't understand the moves SG are making.
Yeah, just absolutely owned by AB1. Just both of his ice paths there just end up being way too impactful in ruining everything. And of course, that all leads into and by KXY dying so early with the Tiny just making soul plays happen. But now, all that tension around the pit, it dissipates. Is also where Oscar, I feel like going for the Primal Roar onto the Morphling, I don't know what was going to pop it beforehand, but just not being able to choose onto maybe a slightly more impactful target just ends up kind of spelling defeat for them. Also, losing sentry control, not really having a safe place for Yuma to play in between, and then getting dewarded. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to look at 5Rat's map and see that they just simply had the vision control there.
Yep, they just had too much of an advantage, and SG, it's just kind of weird because, you know, they lose a couple of heroes. They pushed all the way across the river to try and get the ward down on the ice spot on their opponent's side, and never took out the one that was scouting them on their side the whole time either. So the priorities are in the right place. Deward the opposing vision. You can get behind that. It's just kind of weird that they were willing to take that risk before they checked their own side.
Yeah, now, well, in this awkward situation where DNM with the Lincoln Sphere, with an Aegis, is really not killable anymore, at least not easily. He's also sitting on 3.5k gold because players just don't like buying their items. But mid, KXY, again, no BKB, no force staff from his teammates. He's taken down and they're running towards their high ground vision, but is this going to really be a punish? I feel like this is just you getting dewarded.
Yuma gets out. Oscar's still pushing onto the tower, however, and I think he gets the tier 2 here. Okay. The split push play is coming into effect. SG are kind of keeping it close at the moment, but I don't know. How many more of these kills onto their course can they afford to give up before things get a little dicey? It's really only because of the fact that Yuma is farming so spectacularly well that this deficit isn't looking much worse right now.
No, it just feels like they're getting quite a few of these trades going their way, and of course 15 to 31. It's been a little bit of a bloodbath, but SG haven't stopped farming. It's where really the Beastmaster, despite it all, is still finding quite a lot of net worth, but do need to see Oscar, I think, just turn his build around, get the Blink Dagger, just make sure you can actually initiate onto what should probably be a jump for the Ember Spirit. Or if not the Blink Dagger, probably just the Ag Shard at this point, so you have a way to cancel out that Lincoln Sphere without having to commit one of Prada's spells, because Skywrath Mage needs pretty much everything he's got at this point, but now we're really going to start slowing down.
Yeah, the pace of play, well, taking a bit of a turn here, which is kind of interesting from the 5-Rat side. They're the team that has the Aegis, but they're content at the moment to kind of just focus on map control. They've got the tier 2 bottom dropping pretty rapidly, so they take that down. Does DNM try to pressure the high ground? No, he does not. However, over on the other side, SG, they took a tier 2 tower of their own, and they are going to try and send a little bit of a push here. They've got the Thunderhide, kind of cheating. They can do it a little bit faster, but damage is being done. DNM, though, morphed into the Weaver. He's going to look for somebody. He does find Oscar. They get the root down. Do they get the Roar as well? They're going to try to hold. No, they're just going to try and TP out. Oscar doesn't want to be here anymore, and he is going to leave.
Nope, everybody escapes. Get the kill on the Tiny. Back top, though. Okay, trying, but will be able to TP out. They weave Prada, though. He ends up getting taken out by Speed, but sure, split push plays actually being quite effective. This tier 3 top now super low, a situation where you're probably not going to get your free glyph reset anymore. So even though SG are losing bodies and losing cores, the more time that they were able to buy.
And there is that Blink Dagger that you were calling for on Oscar. It's coming out to him as we speak, so he does have a little bit more to work with. He got the Quickening Charm, which he needs to actually swing into his slot, but Yeah. Lower cooldowns, a blink dagger to actually get onto the target that he wants. It's looking a little bit better now for that Beastmaster as Kits trying to hunt for a kill here, not really able to catch up to anybody, but while he was doing that, that is a full Scotty finished up on DNM. So the Morphling is really just kind of neck and neck with the Weaver on the other side.
And okay, on the run. Does he... Oh, Kits. Get down, Mr. President. Merlin gets to walk away and now even gets side kicked up. Saved his teammate there just a little bit, even though that would have been a sick shot from LTH, but 5-Rat, they're back on the aggressive. Time to go.
Okay. Kai and Sanj picked up from Kits, so he is turning into a little bit more of a threat. And speaking of threats, LTH, yeah, they are hitting him up here. Arrow doesn't hit, but the rebound does. They will find that kill. This time, though, the gem actually hits the deck. So normally you would say, LTH's death in that scenario is not that big a deal. He'd been sacrificing himself really the whole game through. But with the gem gone, things do get a little bit more complicated. As Yuma, he's going to try for a quick kill, looking for Merlin. Well, Mystic Flare is certainly going to help, but speed goes in. There's going to be the rebound into the Dispos, but the silence prevents him from popping the Unleash. He would have to activate his BKB, which he does not want to do, but with Kits coming in, that was turning into a slightly larger fight, and that's Yuma's cue to leave.
Well, they're trying for it still, though.
Okay. He doesn't have a time lapse, so he has to activate a BKB of his own. BKB's out on both sides as Speed will continue to chase, and Yuma, he's rooted. They've got him. Well, that's a little bit rough for the Weaver here, and he's got a Lincoln Sphere now. Doesn't really do him much good now that he's dead, but he's got it for his next life, but he's out for 70. At the same time, though, look at this. Oscar and KXY just begging for someone to come out here because they could blow them up pretty quickly, but nobody's going to take the bait. KXY will instead just clear the creep wave and TP home.
Yep, very safe from 5-Rat. They know the position they're in. They know they don't want to give their opponents very much more time here. Continuing to grow very quickly. In that bottom plate, maybe it turns out a little bit better if he has his Daedalus now almost finished up, but it's going to be quite a ways away for Yuma to actually finish up an actual damage-dealing item. That's where DNM, hunting with the gem. We love LTH, and ooh, okay, they kind of see each other there in the daytime, and just the little sentry there placed for the D-ward, knowing that the Morphling is coming to kill him, and then the scan comes through, and we will see the immediate retreat, but I have to see what Roche is going to look like here, because that's all that 5-Rat are really focused on right now. Might go for a smoke, but I feel like smoke into the night, these usually don't end up too successful. I feel like more so, it's probably better to just claim a high ground and then choke out that Roche pit, but here we are, going forward. A lot of Beastmaster units to try and scout ahead, so maybe a false sense of security here, but this is Tiny's BKB. KXY will be able to stand on the front line a little bit longer. Not too long, though, just because there is that Scotty Morphling, but I have to see now. They're going in different directions, though, and they're going to lose this high ground if they place an Obs Ward up here, and then suddenly, don't know if SG are going to want to take that fight.
Speed's getting close. He is going to pop. Hits comes in as well to get the Dispos down onto the Skyreth Mage, but there's going to be the Roar into the Mystic Flare, and Speed gets traded. 1 for 1 so far. Dust was popped, though, so Yuma's got to be a little bit careful. He might just have to leave LTH to die, but LTH is really leading him on quite the chase here. Eventually, he does get taken down, but his teammates, they're still looking for the fight. DNM comes in. There's going to be the Avalanche into the arrow. They lock down Oscar. They'll finish him off. Prada, well, he's going to buy back, but at this point, I'm not sure if there's a real fight to buy back into. Yeah, Yuma doesn't really want to go any further forward, so 5-Rat, they take control of the pit, but we still don't know if Roche is actually respawning at this point. 2 minutes on the timer.
Okay. A lot of time, actually, for SG to finish off quite a few items as, well, Prada buys back, places a ward, immediately gets de-warded. The vision from 5-Rat just remains. But question now is whether or not Yuma's actually able to get this Daedalus before Roche's the next objective, or if there will be that much time bought. But we'll have to see, because 5-Rat, really 2 minutes is kind of annoying for them to deal with, because all these lanes getting pushed in simply means that they're going to have to abandon a lot of their vision for a second, so maintaining this much control over an area is just very difficult to actually obtain in Dota. So when they walk away, should probably see SG march out with LTH and Prada, and then that control ends up slipping through your fingers a little bit, but just something that kind of naturally happens.
Well, farming, working towards the Daedalus. Meanwhile, KXY wants an Aghanim Scepter. And might try for kits here. No, okay, just clearing out the creep wave. He'll TP home. Did not BKB, which could have been rough for him, but he's not going to get punished this time. He will fall back, and SG are really just drawing this one out as best as they can, and that's the play that right now they kind of do have to make.
Yeah, and well, here's the other side of that coin I kind of brought up earlier. If Firat never leave this area, well, they'll never lose their vision, but their opponents are making up a lot of ground net worth-wise, and especially Yuma. He has actually pretty much eclipsed DNM, at least XP-wise. He has really started to just find a lot more out of the map than the Morphling has. And of course, DNM, he's standing as kind of the vanguard here near the pit. Hasn't been hitting too many creeps, but now inside, trying to get Kits' BKB, and, well, they got it. Now they just need to escape.
Yuma time-lapsing a little bit early, but Prada's going to step in there and eat the death. That arrow is very close to Yuma. They at least get the vision, but Yuma's going to double back. Just kind of juking him out here as he should be able to walk away. Prada, though, well, he's dead for a little bit longer here, right? Because he bought back in that last engagement. So they are without him for a little bit. No Mystic Flare available, but Yuma is still keeping things pushed out here, still chipping away at the tower. KXY is going to come over here as well, as the arrow will fly. It hits a creep. That forced out the Glip, though, at a point where SC were already pulling back, but they're going to look for a kill. Can they get the Mirana? No, they can't, but DNM is in. Oscar, he's got to find a Roar target. Will he get it off? Yes, he will, but I don't think it's going to be enough to keep him alive. Yeah, Kits will break him down. KXY, though, looking for something, hoping for some kill on the back line. I don't know. The second he reveals himself, yeah, he's not even going to try for it. He backs away.
Well, now, well, this was fun, but Firat say, well, Rosh is probably alive. AB1 cleans up the wards. Yuma is still hunting in the bottom lane, but a hunt that will not come up with any prey. And this next Aegis should just go into the hands of DNM. It's a very fast Rosh. Not the fastest, not like it has a crit or anything on the Morphling just yet, but they're actually tempting fate a little bit here. Without their Beastmaster, without the Hawks, LTH has to get vision with the Bushwhack, and yeah, nice Bushwhack will land, but AB1 already in position in there. Yeah, it's the cheapest play in the world. Just walk out, D-ward, get the kills. KXY would love to jump AB1, but knows that maybe this isn't going to work. But, oh no! Actually missed the sharpshooter. Oh,
the
now.
net comes out, and now KXY's in trouble. He's going to pop his BKB. He doesn't have TP, though. It's on cooldown, so he's just dead, and I can't believe that they keep doing this at this point. They keep on going in when there is no way out. Mini T, if that play works, what changes? I mean, AB1's dead, but other than that, KXY is still stuck in the same situation against the same heroes trying to kill him. It just seems like there's really not much upside to trying that play.
No, definitely not. And, well, you've got this Yuma kind of itching back at you. He actually time-lapsed out of top and back to his split push play bottom, and he's been making good headway here, but really just isn't the most fearsome player in the lobby right now, where DNM is kind of dethroned him, and the rest of the lineup is falling apart at the seams a little bit here. And now we're back to mode dodge, mode avoid, mode don't let them anywhere near us, because they will just take us and so much more. As LTH is on the run, should be able to TP home, but that's where this game is just not very fun for SG. The only one getting farm is Yuma right now, and he's successfully still building up. Almost got his courier killed there, and that would have killed the tome, but Yuma hits 25. I think that's his second tome that he's stolen away from his teammates.
Yep. He is very much interested in getting that talent. We'll see which one he actually picks at this point, although it's taking a little bit of time to make his choice. And also, trying to focus on getting that actual last piece of the Daedalus, because the Demon Edge is unbelievably close for him. So if he gets that, he becomes a more significant threat. As what was the choice? Okay, it was the extra Geminate attack. So, okay, he's got +1 attack. He's got the Daedalus finished. He's still got the root from the Gleep near ET. So, if he gets on somebody, the damage is going to be significant. It's just, can he get onto anybody? And can he get onto anybody without losing half of his team in the process?
And well, here we go. Looking bottom. Yeah, there you go. KXY being very obnoxious, but gonna get arrowed. Needs a Force Staff. Oh, he's barely able to walk that one out.
It's a little bit rough for him, but KXY figured, you know what, I can make it away. No BKB, no force step, everything's fine. In the meantime, Oscar's putting together a bit of a split push up top, so they are just trying to buy time down here. And if they can maybe burn DNM's Aegis without getting overly involved here, they're going to be happy with that too, but right now it just looks like it's a little bit of a race, and Kits did have to come back. Of course, it's an Ember Spirit, so he could rejoin with his teammates if he dropped a Remnant. Meanwhile, Yuma, that is very far forward. He's going to walk into the Ice Path, but KXY gets on the back line. Can he take anyone down? He drops them low enough, so speed does fall, but both the supports on the other side end up falling too. DNM picks up the double kill, and now Yuma's going to go to work. Leap near root coming in. Oscar's going to drop the roar. They've got Kits locked down. Can they finish him off? Yes, they can. And this is the part where, well, things get a little rough for 5red. As DNM is dropped, KXY takes the first life. They need to get AB1 out of the way here as he is trying to create some sort of escape route with the Ice Path, and it should be enough. DNM's going to TP home. Gleipnir doesn't hit, but SG, they still get some nice kills in there. They burn the Aegis. They find 3. I believe they had to buy back on, yeah, on LTH, but that's not really a massive buyback to expend.
No, definitely isn't. KXY just found a really great angle there, and that was Aegis as well. So they were just taking everything away from 5-Rap. But I think really the oddest part of that push was the way that Speed ended up using his BKB. What felt like he was just going to blink, rebound, go in. Wanted to really just dive on the KXY and force something, but then ended up getting cold feet halfway through. Then he doesn't have BKB. Then he has to force his entire team to really back out of that situation. But in backing out, KXY catches you, and then you get punished, and then don't even get your BKB popped on the Ember Spirit because you end up taking so much damage. And now, well, you've got quite a lot of push here coming into you. You've got Tiny, you've got Beastmaster, you've got Yuma just being so obnoxious, and with these very awkward death timers, 5-Red are struggling to find the proper way to defend this. This should just be buildings and then backs, but still a very tough spot to be in, and a whole lot of net worth that SG were just able to crawl back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you go from down by 9, about 10k, to suddenly staring at a deficit less than half that size. They're feeling pretty good. Of course, they just killed the Aegis a few moments ago, so Roche isn't even a thought in their minds for quite a while, but they're able to push out. They dropped a little bit of vision as they went too, so they have this high ground ward. They're going to see when 5-Ret try to push back forward, and, well, just seems like SG are doing a little bit more. That last fight showed that the execution, the prioritization sort of got back on track, and I don't know. At this point, what else are they looking for? Oscar wants the AC. Not going to get it anytime soon, but he's working his way towards it. The Scotty, though, for Yuma. Well, ET, that could be a little bit of a difference maker. If you have the likes of Speed, try to, you know, pop the BKB, just jump into the middle of the fight. He's not going to be all that maneuverable if the Scotty hits get onto him.
No, it's where you get your regen reduced as well. Everything just gets ugly. Of course, 40% knocked off of that. It's where I think the game could really start to swing in SG's favor, even though saving for buyback might become more important as this game continues. But then, Yuma, yeah, bottom, even time lapses just to be ultimately safe. But Speed is still looking. Op Sentry placed. They still need to go, though. LTH, he's shooting. He's being annoying, but they cannot let this morph get off. Gotta be so careful, KXY. He might get seen and then gonna get Avid, but just needs to BKB TP. But he's also afraid. Now he's gonna try to get for the blink instead, but will you be able to connect? No. A lot of bot time, and now top Kits. What a slight.
Oh, he's
what another
dodging.
slight.
He's dancing. The roar still hits, but he got the BKB off. Oscar's gonna TP away. I don't think Prada's gonna make it out of here, though. They should be able to lock him down, and oh, hold on a second. He actually just put the Aeon Disc together.
Yeah, rest of the lineup's coming. Maybe one's gonna see everything, and he's gonna take a good bit to die, but LTH is now gonna get taken down.
Yuma's just got to get out of here at this point. This is not the fight that they wanted. KXY, though, he's looking. He gets in. He takes down AB1.
2 more remnants. 1 more remnant.
Speed, got to be careful here. That's a lot of damage. That forces his BKB. He's going to pop the Unleash here, but he is still just kind of ticking down a little bit, but they're still trying to push. They're in onto Oscar. They take him down. Yuma dropping low as well, but he's able to time-lapse. The Speed was the one to die there, and DNM, yeah, you got to blink. He's got to try and get away. Can Kits make it out? No, he can't. The Avalanche cancels. And Kits has no mana. He's not going to be able to jump out. And KXY, did he get the toss charges? He did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's doing a little bit too much damage there, but man, these tree volleys from KXY, they're shredding. They're just doing way too much. And Yuma never really under threat during any of that team fight. And I mean, he picked up his Scotty in the middle of that engagement, and now we're in that same situation. Where Tiny's alive, Weaver's alive, you want to push onto these buildings. You probably want to look for a glyph here, but without the Jakiro, defending is really difficult. Still need to be very cautious of DNM, but they're starting to ignore the Morphling.
Hmm. Trying to just kind of fight around him, and this is what happens. The Morph goes for this... I don't want to call it entirely defensive, but it feels defensive in terms of the build, and it doesn't do enough damage to just kill someone instantly as he pops his BKB. Yuma, though, says, I want the racks. That may have been a mistake. Well, he's dead, and... Oh my god. His teammate's able to get away, but Yuma... Hold on a second, because... ET... If you're going to go out there and you're going to lay your life down to try and get the racks, I get that, but he does that with no buyback.
Yeah, and you know what? He's not punished for it because Roche plays nice for SG. Continues to play nice for SG because otherwise that would have been your uh-oh moment for sure. But nope. Said third Roche is going to be a lot more stubborn, but yeah, KXY, he's really turned this game around, just being a much more important damage dealer in this game. He's really just looking to put the hurt on this backline supports, but even, I think, Speed, up until this point, just not really able to progress any further after the Basher, just not feeling that confidence anymore. And sure, DNM's also incredibly farmed. He's got the Swift Blink, he's got the same build that they had in their super long 85-minute game, but it's where you do wonder if maybe he's not able to stick on. Maybe you need to actually have the Daedalus, because sure, you're getting this Tiny, and you're hitting him for what feels like 10 seconds of these team fights, but without a crit, you're just not getting through him fast enough.
Wow, KXY is just pushing out wave after wave. And this is the thing that's concerning, right? The Tiny, he's really not maxed out here. So this isn't just split push because we need it. This is valid farming for the Tiny to continue building up because he can start doing some more damage. This Echo Saber could go. Honestly, his boots in some situations could go as well if it makes the tree volley that much more dangerous.
No, definitely could. I think that's probably going to be KXY's next option. Probably want to get rid of the Echo Saber sometime as well, but we'll see, because Echo Saber is always a sad buy for Tiny, or a sad sell for Tiny, but that's where the rest of the lineup, though, marches towards top. They know that there's vision that AB1 has, and actually,
DNM, very aggressive.
Extremely aggressive, just trying to get away from the sentry, but that's where the ward still alive, but slowly but surely taken out. And the rest of the lineup, they're looking to actually catch KXY here, but with the gem, it's just going to be BKB TP, will do. Speed isn't able to connect. Not like he has Blink into Abyssal Blade either, so even though you forced BKB, now you have to do something because you forced it, but 5-Ret failed to actually get that continuation of the play. But Roche is alive.
5 seconds for the respawn, yeah. We'll see who's able to take control. At this point, I think the Roche is spawning with actually not quite everything. I was one off, so it's the Shard up right now. It would be a hell of an item pickup for either side. Let's see who is going to scout it out first. And they could send the... Yeah, there we go. The Hawk's going to go in, so they know that Roche is up. But at the same time, they got to get through 5-Rat to take it. Because 5-Rat are smoked up looking for some sort of engagement here on the river. Oh. That's a Refresher Orb picked up by KXY. So he's going to have the double BKB, double Avatos, double Volley. A lot of damage.
Question is, does he have that many trees to supply the tree volley? That's
true.
You gotta be asking yourself here, but into the pit. No, DNM's gonna continue pressing it, but they don't have a sentry far enough up to actually de-ward these Hawks, so they're gonna get full vision of that pit, and DNM tempting fate a little bit here.
Sleipnir used. Swarm Beetle, okay, it does hit onto DNM. He's quickly able to remove it, and his teammates, they're going to smoke up. They want the full wrap around, and they're going to get close to KXY. Not close enough to pop. Oh, hold on. Yes, close enough to pop, and they are going to try and move, but KXY able to throw down the Avalanche, but he didn't actually get his own BKB off that early, so he's going to just drop. Oh, that's a problem. Yuma's now getting hit up as well, and Yuma, he doesn't get out either. no one had any means of defending themselves, ET. They did not take the threat seriously, and there's no Roche fight. That's it. It's just done.
Yeah, just another freebie for 5rat. Just refusing to play well around the pit, but, you know, still very important for 5rat to actually use this Aegis to actually get onto the racks here. It's the next step as Prada. Well, that's just going to be a free death, but there is a problem brewing here for SG, because as soon as they can get onto an actual creep wave here, there's no buyback on the Morphling or the Tiny, so if they decide to test Fate here, break through a tier 3, and then immediately test the waters with those tier 4s, SG will come up with nothing at that point. That is just going to be them throwing their bodies at what could just be 5rat pushing for the win. They do need to actually get down here and help the NM out, but when they do, I would not be surprised if 5rat decide to make that type of decision, because really, it's the only thing they could play for. They could go for 2 lanes, or they could try to force off these buybacks and then feel even happier with their position, but there's Glyph. There's not going to be Glyph for the tier 4s if they want to press it, and slight pings, but they do have to make that tough decision.
Well, the Bushwhack's going to buy him a little bit of time, but it shouldn't be enough. Bottom lane still falls. Starting to rotate their way mid. Speed's going to pop the Unleash now, so it does help them get through a second lane. They can't go for the Megazone. There's still a tier 2 top. It looks like they're just going to play it safe. They back away. SG will get their heroes back in, so they have one more chance at this. At least one. But how can they KXY? Okay. Well, that's his CP on cooldown for quite a while here. Hopefully they won't need it.
Here's the smoke. Still holding the high grounds. And 5rat have done so well all tournament. Looking for those break opportunities. Arrow flies. Not going to actually catch onto anything. And they had to show Yuma there. Otherwise, it would be way too obvious. But I feel like SG also might say, oh, you're not going to come for the last one. Well, we're not going to chase you up onto your territory, because that is suicide.
And situation here for SG, realizing this is kind of their final line of defense. One last lane of racks to work with, but see some items getting picked up here. Speed should have the full Abyssal now. Leave. Okay. You'd have to buy the recipe at this point, but I think he got the Atos part of it for the Gleipniron kits. Are looking for something at this point, but this wraparound isn't really going to hit up onto too much. If there's no one here, though, they can at least push that bottom wave in and just really get another angle of attack as maybe one. He's got a Hex on the Jakiro, so he is starting to feel pretty rich. That is a pretty solid distinction between the supports on the 5-rat side, because they've got basically a full item up on their counterparts.
There's that difference, and of course, getting the 2 racks is KXY. Oh, he's making a break for it, but there is an Ember Spirit on his heels. Ember Spirit without the gem this time around, though, so he will need some assistance from Speed, but where Speed also has his Abyssal Blades, so KXY, you cannot TP out of the situation, and, well, that's quick, though.
Got the wave, TP back, no one even close to him there, so he does retreat successfully, but, well, DNM poking at that final lane of racks. Tier 3 tower, pretty low here, but they won't break through it just yet. How much longer on this Aegis? Minute and a half on the timer. So DNM, I don't know. If you lose this Aegis, you're still in this wildly advantageous position, ET, but I feel like with 2 lives on the Morphling, now might just be the time to try and force something.
No, they can afford to do something stupid, which is what they definitely are kind of prodding here as kits. Oh, no.
There's going to be the roar. They lock him down. They take him out. So, well, hey, that sidekick talent, that's pretty damn cool. Onto the Morphling. Kits did not have it himself, though, and I mean, he had a BKB. I'm not sure if it would have been enough to help, but without popping it in the first place, he's just straight up dead.
And now, is KXY just gonna, go in?
Okay, looking for something. Looking for it again as he refreshes. There's going to be the Avalanche. Looking for the toss play. That's enough to take down Merlin, but DNM's going to start to get involved. Pushing his way forward. Immediately falling back, though, without picking up any kills. 5-rat are sort of forced to push away. Their creeps, though, are doing some nice work in the base. Somebody... There we go. Somebody has to come back to clean that up. It will be KXY. But if you're SG... it's still a rough position, ET, but you live to fight another day.
And, well,
You
Faceless
know?
Hold, Aegis Expire, okay. Yeah, you got 2 waveform charges and an Agi Blink, you know, why the hell not? But, 3 minutes away from 60-minute items. Tier 5s
Mm.
almost seem like an inevitability because knowing 5 Rat, they're going to do absolutely nothing until their next Aegis actually comes up here. But SG, they're the ones on the aggressive. They're on the other side of the map, trying to get some split push play going. With the bottom wave all the way in, though, I feel like you should have kind of an idea of what's going on here. But DNM TP's back. Can only imagine that, yeah, Tree Volley goes mid. They are pinging out maybe some of these heroes and actually Speed on the run here. And the AP1 could get punished as well, but they're both so quick to make that retreat on the way back out. And the Ember Spirit's alive, so 5 Rat are back to full strength.
Kits is alive. Mirana's up in like 8 seconds, so 5 Rat are going to be okay. Does somebody come back to clean up this creep wave now? Because SG didn't really find the opening that they wanted. They all want to sort of stay farming out in the jungle, which, fair enough, but somebody has to defend tier 4s, as Prada's going to be the one to do it. Prada, what's he working towards here? He's got himself a Hex queued up. He's got or has had the Philosopher's Stone for quite some time, so he could realistically get it, and well, we saw what happened, right? When Kits went a little bit too far and didn't have his defensive items at the ready, he got punished pretty heavily. So, a Hex in the right spot, maybe once the BKBs were off on some of the core heroes, could turn things.
Yeah.
Of course, that's assuming he just buys it out and doesn't really save for his buyback.
Yeah, he could start to get the components here and there, but maybe just worried about spending his unreliable gold, but it's fine. And okay, hitting the racks, trying to get it. They're trying to Megas you. That's going to force Glyph. That's real cheap from DNM, and he will just make his way back, but that's also just DD Rune on Morphling. Gotta love it.
Yep. Cost him a BKB charge, but at this point it's lowest duration possible, and they don't plan on doing anything for another 70, right? They're still waiting for a potential Roche respawn, so DNM is going to fall back. He's going to farm up, and the chip damage continues. Tier 3 down. Melee racks, though, was what he was hitting, so it is going to start healing. See how quickly they can get back up there, because, like you said, 5 Rat, they're probably just going to wait. They're probably just going to take it low and slow, but I don't know. It feels weird to do that when we're coming up on 60, right? Because those items, I mean, any one of those items could single-handedly turn the game for better or worse, so it's a little bit strange that they didn't put maybe a little bit more effort into trying to get that final push through, but it is what it is. We have to wait. The items are going to come, and that is double hexes. KXY picked one up, and they got one up on Prada as well. Of course, with those purchases, neither hero has buyback. KXY just needs to clear out maybe 1 or 2 waves to have enough for his, though, so he is okay, so long as he doesn't get caught.
One more smoke from 5 Rat. They're looking for any pick again here. Don't want to place their wards on the high ground either, but they also just want to jump in, hit the melee racks a little bit more here. That's where they have to be set up, but also kind of know what's going on, and yep, can't do anything about that.
And Oscar's just going to get taken down here, not able to fall back. He buys back very quickly, though, but the Megas have been acquired. KXY, he's trying to get in on the backline here. He does have eyes on the Jakiro. Okay. AB1 dead, but AB1's got buyback.
And now, time to farm up those tier 5s, because those items are going to be your game changers here. Even Yuma, I think he's making waves right now to try and purchase his Divine. Just knows that, yep, this might just be the game here. Currently, he's just sitting on a locked Sacred Relic just because he knows, but Ex Machina picked up. Ah, great, we got the broken one already.
Oh, boy. And we'll see who actually takes that as... Oh, okay. Speed actually just used it instantly, so that's cool. But some more coming out here. Book of Shadows found by the Morphling. Is that an Apex? That is an Apex. Okay. Could just give that over to the Tiny, maybe. He would have to sacrifice his ninja gear for it, but giving an Apex over to the Tiny, how hard is he going to hit?
No, yeah. And do quite a bit of damage. Probably also give it over to the Yum. I think it's sitting in a stash right now, but
yeah, okay.
There's no bad choices. Force boost also super value choice. So whenever speed actually gets that rebound off, you're just gonna see him zoom. You're just gonna see him like immediately dart across the screen. And that's where SG do kind of have to finish off a lot of these. They're actually still kind of sagging behind here, but as well as there always seems to be a Book of the Dead on one team. The other team's still looking for theirs because eventually these tier 4s are going to be the ones that DNM just decides to pop his BKB and do his
Yuma.
spiel at. But okay, on the run. Another chain, another slight soon.
BKB, TP away. Is Speed there in time? No, he's not. Oh boy, we're falling back into this. KXY is in the bottom lane. Honestly, with the damage he does, he could potentially get a Rax here if nobody's going to come back, and no one's here yet. That's a lot of TPs, though. KXY, well, he thinks he can get away, but the Abyssal Blade does come out, so no, never mind. He's perfectly, not perfectly fine. He's completely screwed, but he thought he was going to be okay not using his BKB. Does he have buyback ET? Yes, he does. Probably the only reason he stuck around.
Yeah, does mean that you have one less buyback to play around with when this push comes in, though, because 5-rat are just going to kill you slowly but surely here and make sure that everything is burned away from you. It's where, honestly, how SG used their next Roche could just be the beginning of the end of the game, because number-wise, everything is so high. The Ancient is not going to last long. You've got Necro Creeps that are going to be hitting it. You've got a very angry Morphling with 2 lives, 3 BKBs to play around with. By George. It's not fun. Nobody's gonna have a great time here. And they're trying to get the waves out. Trying to even look for something else here, but yep. This is just how it goes. 10 seconds till your glyph is back.
They've got to go. They've got to try something. Well, LTH is going to make the move. He gets burnt immediately. No buyback available on him, but that does buy a little bit of time. And Yuma is forced to time lapse. Still not making that rapier just yet. Keeping it locked. One of the tier 4s went down there, but the Morph did pop... I think he popped Shard. Or no, maybe he just used the Ex Machina there, actually. Yeah, he still has all his items.
Ex Machina is a hell of a thing. Does need maybe some mangoes from AB1. You know, it is quite a bit of mana, but now we just gotta see what's gonna happen next, because 5-rat have one more smoke from AB1. They've used so many of these smokes in this game. And another DD rune for DNM. Just having the vision in the river, knowing that, yep, here we go again. And this is at the very least going to force out the glyph, or at least it feels like it's going to force the glyph out from SG, but somebody's got to be on that button. Somebody's got to be so good, but this could be the last smoke of the game.
Prada's trying to stand as far forward as he can, but DNM's just going to go in. He's looking for the Ancient. That's going to force the glyph. DNM doesn't care. Still hitting. Teammates trying to push in to help him as the Tiny, he's dropped low. Can they get him out of here at this point? KXY, I'm not sure he can really afford to fall back. They have to keep fighting. They have to get DNM. Ancient falling, 1400 HP. Can they bring the Morphling down? Not just yet. The Ancient's going to fall, ET and 5-rat. 64 minutes and 55 seconds, but they make it happen. The slow, very slow, and cautious approach eventually pays off.
Yeah, 28-55. Still felt like the game was on a knife's edge, but just too many Roches, too many mistakes around the pit from SG. Really just not enough to actually keep their heads in the game. Some misplays, some really great misplays from both Prada and KXY to kind of throw away their few contests that probably would have made this game look a little bit closer, but 5-rat versus SG, they just keep on taking the game slower and slower and slower as we go here, but now we are in our best of one. This is where 5-rat, well, they're back. SG lost their hammer. That was their opportunity to just close out the series, close out and take the prize money, but instead, now 5-rat get their pick priority coming into the final game of BTS Pro Series 12. Well, we'll gotta see what they choose.
Yep, we'll see what the decision is from them, and as you said, ET, it is now the final game. No matter what, Game 5 of our grand final. None of these games have been particularly quick, so I don't really anticipate much changing heading into Game 5 in terms of pace, but we'll see what changes in terms of actual selections here, because this SG lineup, it kind of came back around a little bit, right? Yuma and KXY hit their stride and started doing some serious damage and some serious split pushing, but by the time they hit that stride, they're so far behind that you're just playing catch up the whole way through.
And we'll have to see Wonder if the priority is, wonder if they're even going to want to take a break because, it just feels like everybody is getting pushed to their limits here. Everybody's exhausted, especially SG. They've been at it
Oh
for 10
yeah,
hours now.
this is going to be their 8th straight game, so yeah, maybe we do give them a little bit of a break. Not entirely sure. We'll see what the players think when they get into the lobby. For now, though, we are hopping into one final little break here before we dive headfirst into Game 5. So stick around. The conclusion, one way or another, is going to be coming up next.
Like a diamond, you alone. You cut my heart like glass, just like that. Like a lion, uncontrolled. Your mark is on my back, just like that. In it for the big thrill. Yeah, you play games with my mind, always, all of the time. In it for the big win. Yeah, you own all of my mind, always, all of the time, all the time. Collide with me, come high with me, and I'll go for you. Divine and free, go ride with me. Yeah, we'll go. Like a fire in, lose control. We like to burn out fast. We're hot like that. Like a diamond, you alone. You cut my heart like glass, just like that. Yeah, in it for the big thrill. Yeah, you play games with my mind, always, all of the time. In it for the big win. Yeah, you own all of my mind, always, all of the time, all the time. Collide with me, come high with me, and I'll go for you. Divine and free, go ride with me. Yeah, we'll go. We're in it for the big thrill, in it for the big win. We're in it for the big thrill, in it for the big win. Collide with me, come high with me, and I'll go for you. Divine and free, go ride with me. Yeah, we'll go.